even in the rejection that I felt from my dad, I still longed for a relationship with him and didn't understand why I wouldn't get birthday cards, didn't understand why I'd get these long letters of apology. It took a few years of visitation over the weekends that we'd have with him that slowly got less and less and less, to the point where one weekend we were over at his apartment, and he kind of divulged how hard it was to do this. And I didn't really understand what he was trying to say, but it came to the point where he basically said, "John, I can't be your father anymore." He couldn't be the dad that he thought he needed to be, and so I think his best way of coping was to remove himself. The little things that you just see a father and son doing slowly began to disappear. And so my teenage years were full of trying to find validation in friends and mainly in relationships with girls. And I felt like if I was wanted, if I was needed, then I had worth. And I don't really struggle with depression, but it was the point in my life that I would say that I was depressed. I just kept saying, there's got to be more to life than this. There has to be more. Because if this is it, I don't know if this is what I want to keep doing. I didn't know what to do. And there was this girl, Alexandra Valle. She was in my political science class, and there was something about her that I just was like, there's something different about her. There's something there that I want, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was the Holy Spirit that was in her that my soul was longing for. And I remember it was the next day in class, I just kind of flippantly asked her, I was like, "Hey, so do you go to church?" She's like, "Yeah, I go to this church in Orange County." She had no idea that I was wrestling with all these things, that I think she thought I was a Christian. So I go with her that Sunday, and they were singing songs, there was worship. I had no concept for this at all, but I felt immediately at home. She was standing in the back, and she had no idea what was going on, and I told her, I was like, "I just became a Christian." And she was just like jaw dropped, like, "What are you talking about?" And so it was just this like, gosh, the cloud had lifted, and I just felt this, I had come home. And years go on, I meet, I join a Bible study. I meet this girl, Lydia, who becomes my wife. The church that we started growing together just became this beautiful place, this restorative place. And I discovered so much healing, saw so much healing happen, but I had no idea that there was still a deep wound in my life. Still a sense of longing to be worthy, of wanted, of needed, of desired. It's about 5 years into the Garden Church, we were on this journey discovering more of who the Holy Spirit is. So we came to dinner over at Darren and Alex's and got to talk with John and Chris. And Chris has this picture for me, he says, and I had never really heard of that concept before, but he said, "I have a picture of you." And it's from the movie Hook. And the picture is, you're standing on a Little League field. Wondering where your father is. And it brought me back to the pain that I had, literally looking out in the Little League field as a 12-year-old boy, wondering where my father was. And I hit the ground so fast because I was full of so much. I had no idea how much grieving I had not done for the pain in my life as a boy. And I remember my prayers to God before then had been very nice. And I felt like I had to have a prayer life with God that reflected a relationship that you said nice things. But But what I felt at that moment was a lot of anger at a God who would allow this to happen to a 12-year-old boy. And the thing I discovered in that moment was that God said, yes, be angry, John. Be angry. This was not okay. This was not right. This should not have happened. And he just allowed me to grieve and to be angry and frustrated at him. And he's like, I'm big enough for this, John. I'm big enough for this. And I had done all the work of therapy, of writing letters of forgiveness, of thinking that I had kind of done the work of recognizing that I didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't at fault for the relationship that I had with my father. I had done all the work, but I hadn't done the work of the Spirit, the work that really mattered. And it's a testament to the path of ministry I've been on. But most importantly, it's a testament to now the father that I am to my girls, who know a father who is devoted to God, who loves Jesus more than them. And the generations that they will have. My success as a father isn't determined primarily just by my kids, but their children and their children's children. And I know that that moment in that room in Darren and Alex's apartment where the Spirit filled me will change generations. That's how good God is.